All right. Welcome to the Iconic Life podcast, where we gather around the virtual table for real, soulful conversations about what it means to live a life of calling, wealth, joy, and purpose. I'm your host, Hannah Elsey. I'm the founder of Agora Wellness. I'm the creator of the Iconicity movement. I call myself a transformation midwife, an overflow activator, and a movement builder of a community of visionary women and men who are choosing to lead and live lives they are wildly in love with. Here, we don't do just surface level chatter. We go deep. We talk about truth and the kind of stories that remind us we are limitless when we are walking in our divine purpose and identity. When I say living iconically, here's what I mean by that. It's remembering who you were created to be and choosing to live from that place fully and unapologetically. It's saying yes to your divine calling, even when it's messy, when it's chaotic, stretchy, and building wealth, legacy, and joy from a place of overflow. It's leading movements, raising families, and co creating a life that feels like art. Because living iconically means you don't chase the dream, you are the dream. And today we get to dive into that with my guest. Welcome, Kristin. So glad to have you here.
I just love your voice. Can I say that for the listeners and viewers? You have an incredible voice, Hannah. Thank you for having me.
So glad to have you on with us. Um, Kristin is one of my mentors, and I'm so honored that you chose to come on and grace us with your presence and some of your wisdom and knowledge. So, like I said, here we're a little informal. Got my electrolytes, got my water, got my little Vermont candle in honor of my Vermont retreat coming up this week. So, we're going to dive in a little bit here. Um, I don't really do like formal intros, so I like to give you the mic here and let you just tell us a little bit about who you are, introduce yourself, kind of where you are in the world, what you do, what your magic is.
I think I'm going to share what's on my desk, if that's okay, because I love
Please.
that. Okay. So I have my sparkle water. I have my other water.
Yeah.
I have a bug
A
zap.
bug light. That's awesome. Not cold over there yet, huh? It's freezing here.
Oh, yeah. It's supposed to be 85 in Southern California
Oh yeah, no, no. I
today.
think we're in the barely getting into the 40s today.
But we are dying with mosquitoes, especially with my living situation. And I just bought this thing over the weekend.
That's awesome. I love it.
Uh, other than zapping mosquitoes, they call me the Say Yes Queen. I wrote Say Yes and Figure It Out. I'm
Yeah.
actually a two-time best-selling author. I also have the book Be a Better Sales Leader, and I'm coming out with my third book called Simpler, Faster, Richer. Thank you so
Woohoo.
much. And I'm a three-time award-winning entrepreneur who helps other people make more money.
Yes. Faster. All right. So yes, you kind of embody the whole do it stretchy, do it brave, right? I love that. So I want you to kind of we're gonna take a minute, kind of go back a little bit. I want you to take me back to a moment, drop us into a moment where you maybe first realized that you weren't gonna just keep on living on autopilot or just a regular routine kind of life, that you were gonna go for more, that you're gonna choose yourself, choose your calling, your identity, choose a different way, right? What was happening in your life at that time? And what shifted inside of you that made you say, this is a path I'm going to walk?
Yeah, so anybody listening, have you ever had a dream on your heart? You probably do now if you're listening to Hannah's podcast. And this business was on my heart. I have this giant whiteboard, and it was at the very, very top of my whiteboard. No clue of how to make it happen because if you're also similar to me, you have debt upon debt, you have jobs, you have kids, you have mortgages, you have all of the things that always makes it feel unsafe to choose this path. But for me, April 17th, 2023, the path chose me when I was unexpectedly let go from my six-figure corporate VP of sales job with no
Mm,
safety net, no 3-month severance, no savings, massively underwater in debt. Like our financial crisis was one for the books. And I had to, at that moment, choose that things don't happen to me, they happened for me. And as a result, that day on April 17th. It was a Monday. 10 minutes into the Zoom call with my CEO and my SVP of HR, when we said our corporate goodbye, I immediately leaned in. And Hannah, I don't know about you, but like, however you seek comfort. I know we were talking before this about both of us needing a nap, right? Or like sometimes it's binge eating the box of Oreos or watching a show on Netflix. That day, I subconsciously chose to seek comfort in action. And
Mm,
that became the whole premise of what is now known as Say Yes and Figure It Out. And by 2 p.m. that day, I won my first client. And I didn't know, thank you, I didn't know like really what I was selling. I hadn't figured everything out. Didn't have a one pager. I didn't have a website. I had nothing and I had no time and I had no money. Um, and I just leaned into monetizing my background, which was sales, and I never stopped moving. So we can talk about the rest of that, but
yeah, you never stopped moving. I think that is so important, right? Because I think sometimes we get stuck or we get frozen
mm,
because you were just handed, like you said, a complete unexpected life shift, right?
yeah.
And you chose action instead. So that's super powerful. Um,
It's okay if you get paralyzed. It's okay if like you need a minute to break. It's okay if you need a beat, but it's also okay if you don't know what you're doing and you take the steps forward anyway.
yes, right, exactly. You just take the action and say yes and figure it out, like you said, right? You lean in, you do the step, and then the next step shows up, and the next step shows up. Um, yeah, so just saying, you guys, if you haven't gotten Kristen's book, Say Yes and Figure It Out, go ahead and do yourself a favor and get that because it is all about this premise and this framework of doing that. And it's key for everything in life, not just for business, right? Because life hands us lots of opportunities to say yes and figure it out. So speaking of that, actually, when we talk about living an iconic life and creating something that is, unique to us and what our calling is, it doesn't necessarily mean that the path is all, rainbows and unicorns and a smooth road after that, right? So tell us a little bit about some obstacles that have tested you the most, maybe on this new journey, and how you decided to move through them instead of
Yeah.
letting them define you. And also, like, looking back at some of the things you've walked through, what were some of the strengths or lessons that you learned from those seasons?
Yeah, it's so interesting when I tell this story because so much of my story, and I don't know about you, Hannah, or the people listening, but like my story is rooted in literal financial crisis, despair, on top of being $350,000 in consumer debt, which is like, Kristin, you just mean your mortgage. No, I mean, in addition to my mortgage. And the problem is, so that everybody knows, we had purchased my grandparents' house in South Bend, Indiana, 2,000 miles away from Long Beach, California, and decided to renovate a 3-bed, 1.5 bath house and turn it into 5 bedrooms, 4 full baths without cash in the bank. And I know it sounds wild, but we were like high risk, high reward. It
Mhm.
had successfully became a Notre Dame Airbnb before I, sold it. But we were going to use my W-2 to cash out refi. But when
Mm.
I lost my job on April 17th, the walls were wide open. And even if it was 2008, we couldn't have faked a mortgage. Like literally the walls were wide, or like, a refi, right? Where you, oh, blah, 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 whatever. So we had no choice. So we finished the renovation. All of my American Express cards got shut down. And
Mm.
we had, as a reason, and I pulled 2 massive hard money loans and I just held on for dear life. But Hannah, in the middle of this, and I know you know, we were also in the middle of a divorce. So it's
Mm.
like crazy on top of crazy on top of like compounding crazy.
Yeah.
And at the time, our bills without me getting, I used to get my eyelashes done. I don't do that anymore. I never got without any manicures, without any facials, without any gym
No extra
membership.
fun things.
Like I can't emphasize enough, like nothing. Like we should dig up pictures of frumpy. Like, I mean, I was also like 2 years postpartum, which is funny. You don't really say 2 years postpartum, except unless you massively dealt with
Except unless, right, exactly, because it's a thing.
like
Yeah.
a whole thing. He just turned 5. Like, so he's still so small. But the point is, it's like bad. It was bad beyond belief or bad beyond anything. And so we had
Yeah.
$20,000 of monthly expenses without
Any
anything,
extras? Yeah.
any extras. And
Yeah.
so I was making it. And everybody in the communities I was in, like, oh my gosh, you're making it. And I couldn't help but say, yeah, but. Like the two words out of my mouth the most were, yeah, but, because I
Mm,
felt like a fraud because that was bare minimum. That was line in the sand. That was just keep my lights on.
hmm
Right.
hmm
And it took forever. I'm still climbing out of that, but it took forever to be able to sell at my house, even in Indiana, which then helped to sell off some of the debt, but not all.
Right.
And I only say that because it's like I need to paint the picture of how bad it was and quasi like it's not I'm so much happier now. You know how we get to choose our thoughts? Like we were just
Mhm.
talking about this. Like
Yeah.
you get to choose to not say yeah, but you get to choose to say thank you. You get to choose to say, I hope this inspires you,
Yeah.
even though it felt like a living nightmare for me.
Yes. Choose the gratitude, even though you're like, oh, okay. Yeah. No, that is the power we have in these situations when it feels like everything is out of our control.
Everything. And
Yeah.
I just started showing up online and I just kept showing up online and sharing in master classes or like online events I was holding or in rooms I would go to, virtual or in person, like not to impress people about my debt or my despair, but like to impress upon them that if you simply decide, take a step, lean in and celebrate, which is the four-step framework from Say Yes and Figure It Out, you eventually you will figure it out.
Yeah. Yeah. Say those four steps again so everybody can catch
Yeah.
that again because it's so simple and yet it is so powerful and literally life changing.
It is so, thank you. So the first step is to decide. So my baby daddy, now ex-husband, will say indecision is worse than the wrong decision. And that's true. Like not making a decision is worse than making a decision, taking a step, leaning in, and then celebrating the fact that that was the wrong decision. But let me
Hmm.
not jump ahead. The first step really is to make a decision.
Yes.
Then the second step is to take one tiny little step because so often we think, oh my gosh, I have to make 100 phone calls, or oh my gosh, I have to build a whole website, or oh my gosh, I have to lose 25 pounds. And we get overwhelmed by the fact that like it feels big and it probably
Yeah.
is, it's heavy, but Rome wasn't built in a day. Or how do you
How
eat
do
an
you eat an
elephant?
elephant? Yeah. Jinx. Yes.
You want me a Coke, double Coke? My God, my kids. So yeah, like you just take one tiny little step and then you lean in right after that step before you take another step. The lean in is gonna look a little different for depending. It might be calling a friend. It might be like leaning in and celebrate sometimes coincide, but it's like that's why it's so simple. It's lean into a group, lean in somewhere, like ask for help or just keep leaning in. But the
Hmm.
whole beauty of the framework is step four, which is celebrate, because
Yeah.
celebration, we forget to celebrate.
Yeah, we do.
We like any of the things, the little things especially. We
Yeah.
think, oh, we're only going to celebrate. Do you know how many times you and I, and you know this because of what you do, we celebrate babies,
Yeah. Yeah.
right? From like the day we find out we're pregnant to the day we have a baby shower, probably 25 times in between then.
Right.
In the baby's first year of life, we're celebrating that child. Hundreds of he slept through the night.
Yeah.
He tried to walk.
Yeah. Not that he walked, but he tried to walk. Right. Exactly. He pulled himself up. Yeah. No, that's right. We celebrate every little step.
Every little step, I'm getting the chills because it's
Mm.
so I made the analogy only like a couple months ago. And when I'm talking to, I know you're a mom, of course, and especially with the midwife stuff, but like, so your audience will probably resonate, but like relaying the Say Yes and Figure It Out framework to finding out you're pregnant to having that baby be 1 year old. Even I've had a miscarriage. So solidarity with all the women on the planet who have had miscarriages, right? Or who haven't been able to get pregnant. That is not a thing that you're quote unquote celebrating. Oh my gosh, like this human life didn't come to fruition. But there is a beauty in this is why we call death sometimes a celebration of life, right?
Mm,
There,
hmm.
there is a beauty and there's a recognition in that moment. And a
Hmm.
lot of us, myself anyway, kept trying after the miscarriage to have another kid. That kid is now named Jack, right? So,
Yeah.
it's kind of like decide, take a step, lean in and celebrate. And then how many times a day do you need to repeat that framework? It's not
Mm,
it's not like only repeat those four steps, like decide you're going to get pregnant. And I know we can't really decide that. And then celebrate when the baby comes. No, it's decide, take a step, lean in, celebrate
yeah.
all of the days of the week, of the month, of the year.
Yeah. It's a really good analogy because a lot of us can resonate with that in this audience. Yeah. Um, Guy or girl, because I think parents can understand that too, right? Yeah. So I love that. And like, and celebration is so key because it helps to calibrate us to where we're going, right? And the new levels and like all those things. And like you said, even if it's the wrong decision and you realize that you still get to celebrate that you did the movement, that you are in momentum, that you are doing the thing because it keeps you going. Inertia, I think, is the worst space to be. It's so frustrating and so like all the, it does nothing good for me at least. So yeah, like taking a step, making a decision and taking a step, leaning into it and seeing where am I supposed to go next. I always think like God can move you if you're moving, right? But if you're just stuck still, like what are you gonna do? You're just there. Like and oh yeah. Anyway. Um, okay, so in the day to day, what does living an iconic life look like to you? What are your not just the highlight big stuff, but like the small things? What do you do? Like what are rituals you do or choices that you make, boundaries that you keep, daily practices or habits that you maintain to keep yourself focused on choosing, deciding, stepping forward, doing your framework for moving into that, creating that iconic life?
Yeah, let's talk about like calendar hacking. I think it'll be a super practical tool to leave people with. But let me first tell them my favorite story, and I know one of yours, which is like four levels of value.
Mm,
We'll
hmm.
tell the quick version. I believe it came from Myron Golden, maybe
So,
originally. It's four levels where it's level one is implementation, which is on the bottom. So if you can see me or just listen, level one's on the bottom, it's implementation. Level two is unification. Level three is communication, and level four is imagination. And
mm,
when I heard this, and I'll tell you a little bit about what it is for people listening. When I heard it, it changed my life, and I brought it into my calendar tactics. Hannah saying it changed her life.
yeah, 100%. Totally
In-
shifted my perspective. Yeah.
Implementation is like it's necessary, but it's like I always would always say I can administratively outwork the next person. Has anybody here ever gone on vacation with their family or their friends and worked? That no, Hannah hasn't. I have.
Yeah.
I was
No,
I was
I
like,
have.
pride of corporate America is like, oh, I'm on vacation, but I've got my BlackBerry or my iPhone right here and I'm working. And I did it on purpose because of the death by email and everything else that came. I hated being so far behind. So if I worked until they shut my computer off, I worked on maternity leave.
Hmm.
Partially because I was bored and I needed that stimulation, but like eventually they were like, we have to actually turn your computer off. Okay, but that's implementation. It's tasks. It's like my house cleaner's here, so she's an implementer, right?
Hmm. Hmm.
Then level two is unification. This is physically what I got paid to do in corporate because I was a VP of sales, so I was paid to unify a department. But like,
Management, directors, things like that. Yeah.
yeah, right.
Yeah.
And like, what does it feel like a lot of times, Hannah, to be?
Heavy. It feels like you're trying to chase chickens, I think. Um, you're trying to keep everybody happy, and that's
Yeah,
draining. It's draining, right? Because you got to keep your corporate happy. You've got to keep your team, your staff happy, and you're caught in this in between.
yeah,
And that to me sounds exhausting.
yeah. And it's fulfilling. Some people are sitting there thinking, oh, it's fulfilling. It is.
It can be, yeah.
Yeah, but also exhausting. And level one, the whole point is there's an income cap. Like with inflation, like an implementer, you might make $100,000 a year. Level
Mhm.
two, unification, you might make 350 or $500,000 a year. Like somebody say that's not that bad. But
Yeah.
Hannah, tell us, I love that you know this story. So tell us about level three.
Level three is the one that started getting me super excited. Because again, when I first heard this, it blew my mind because I was like, oh, I see where I am and where I want to go. So level three is communication, right?
Yeah.
Making money by your words, not by our muscles, not by managing, but by our words, by how we communicate, be that speaking, coaching, writing a book, anything
Mhm.
that is from our words. And that is where the sky begins to not be the limit, right? Um, Remind me, what is the cap on that?
Yeah,
I don't
well,
even know. It's I want to say like
I
20
like,
million.
no, I mean, I like to say it's like 100 million because like,
Okay, 100 million.
think
Yeah.
about like actors and comedians and like other
Yeah,
people who
actors,
are getting
right? Yes.
paid to use their
Yeah.
voice. Like, but Hannah's right, depending on why you follow Hannah and what you're interested in, like the reality is, right? So she can help you unlock your voice to then also level 4, live in your imagination. And I know
Yes.
it's so funny.
Fire.
You just asked me a simple question, but I'm like, let's get them excited about level 1, 2, 3, and 4. And because
Mm.
level 4 is uncapped. And so Hannah, tell us a little bit about imagination, and then I'll answer your
Yes.
question.
No, this is good though, because it's so important to understand this, right? If you have never heard this before. But level 4 is the one where you just like really get excited because it's imagination. It is the levels up where like the sky is truly not the limit. Whatever you can imagine and create it can make you money, right? And like literally there is no cap on that. It's like the world of like Walt Disney, which is, Elon Musk, things like that, where or Steve Jobs, right? Like the iPhone, the iPad that didn't exist before, right? So like creating something from your imagination and bring it in. This also applies to if you want to bring it down to the everyday person who's not Steve Jobs or, Walt Disney, is us creating beautiful, exquisite offers, right? That we are creating and that you get to, if you're doing a high ticket offers or whatever like that, which I know we talk about a lot here, but you get to create these amazing experiences that are from your imagination, right? That bring value to people and that you are excited to do. And the sky's not the limit ever for you on what your income can be.
Yeah. Okay. I love it. Give it for Hannah. So it's so fun when you have a shared language and you can use that language to tell stories. So then
Mm,
you asked me something along the lines of like, what does a day-to-day look like? And
mhm.
it's one thing to tell you, but now you can actually imagine that when I heard this, it's easier said than done. So it's not that easy to put into practice. In fact, when I first became an entrepreneur in April of 2023, I was like, okay, I'm not going to work 8 to 9. I'm not going to work 12 to 1, and I'm not going to work 4 to 5. And if you're dying in implementation, whether you're an entrepreneur or in corporate America or working for somebody else at the hospital or wherever have you, you know that that in and of itself is like life's biggest luxury.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh my gosh. But then something like they in construction happens, like the actual construction of houses. It's called scope creep. And you
Mm.
take, so in construction, scope creep happens because, well, oh, you open the bathroom floors and all of a sudden the subfloor is rotted. So you don't have to replace the subfloor, but you're like, we should probably replace the subfloor. And that,
Since we're here anyway.
yeah, it's like literally rotten. So that adds budget and time to the scope. Or the homeowner will say, well, why don't we just knock out that other wall too and like add on this and add on that? So scope creep happens also as an employee or an entrepreneur or a boss where you block 8 to 9, 12 to 1, and 4 to 5, and then you take meetings anyway.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And so about a year into working for myself, I was like dying in implementation. I was on back to back to back calls implementing what I had sold, or I was on back to back calls trying to sell more things. I mean, I am a salesperson by trade, right? The problem was, even though I knew how to stack, which is like, this is the hack. So I'm going to start dropping the hacks, right? If nothing else, however your day looks, how many ever days a week you work or don't work, put all the same type of things in one day and
Yes.
stack them on top of each other as much as possible. So that
Yes.
you don't have a podcast recording and then an hour block and then another podcast recording and then a 2 hour block and then something else. Because it's called task switching, where your brain can't function as fast. You lose efficiency switching from one task to another
Yeah.
rather than, would this be exhausting to record 3 podcasts back to back? Yes, but you'd be done and then you'd have the rest of the day to do other things or to relax.
Yeah.
I took that one step further when I learned about 4 levels of value and was dying in implementation, that I call April of 2024 my 2.0, the start of my 2.0 season. So that's when I found another mentor to really help me scale. And when I heard four levels of value from her, I thought, okay, I need intentional time in my calendar to live in my imagination. And Hannah's
Mm.
hung around with me enough that she'll hear me say, if nothing else, by the end of today, after you listen to this podcast, go on an imagination walk.
Yes.
Maybe you're walking barefoot to your mailbox. Maybe you're just walking once around the block. You don't need to get your sports gear on and like make a whole big thing of it. Maybe you're listening to the birds and the bees or listening to this podcast again or on an audible book. Like listen or don't listen, but like purposefully and intentionally go on what you're calling an imagination walk. And after doing it a few times, maybe many times, it'll eventually sink in. So like I love Hannah when clients ask me like what are you doing quote unquote and I'm like oh I'm taking an imagination nap in the sun. Like,
I love it.
permission to rest.
Yes.
It's just like your call to rest. So like what do I do on a daily basis now is I work 11 to 2.
I love it.
Scope creep does happen still in my life and that's okay because it's very few hours per day and I try to be the mom who has very young kids still 5 and 7 where when it's my week to drop them off I'm not rushed or stressed.
Hmm.
And people who know and I think you know when you have to be somewhere you have to it's not fun.
Yeah.
In corporate other people were scheduling for me so if I had to call at 7 a.m. I had to call at 7 a.m.
Right.
right. So now I most often like I try to work 11 to 2. There's always some exceptions and I spend my mornings just breathing, living, sometimes going on walks, sometimes getting ready for the day, which I never used to do. Like sometimes I can't actually tell you what I did, but that means I'm doing it right.
Mm.
Because it shouldn't be about like so much productivity. I'm tuned in so much to my imagination now. That's what's going to move the needle faster for you and your business than sitting here and outworking the next person, getting that landing page done, figuring out. I still don't have branded colors, Hannah, for my, I don't have a logo. It's like
And yet
crazy.
you're killing it. Like, my gosh, right?
That's crazy for some people. And then in the afternoon, when it's my weeks, I pick up my kids from after school program instead of at 6 p.m., right? Because elementary schools, they're open till 6 p.m. now with after school program. I
Mm.
pick my kids up at like 3 p.m. and we just kind of get on with our night. So
Yeah.
like, yeah, it's how do I really truly now build my business around my life?
Yes, that's it right there. Build your business around your life, not your life around your business.
Yeah, and like
That's
integrate the
powerful.
two because then it becomes fun. I can't wait for this next season where I love yachts, right? So
Mhm. Yes.
I'm like, oh my gosh, like who needs to be on my board of advisors to go on yacht? Yeah, Hannah does. Okay,
Sign me up.
fine. There's so many creative things now that we're going to start having like regular, consistent cash flow coming in and iterating the business because I've given myself time and space to breathe. And we're almost 2.5 years later out of financial crisis.
Wow.
Now it's about to be super fun. But that
Yeah.
was hard. For a long time it was hard. And you just have to, I've learned like, if nothing else, like you know this, Hannah, the words you speak to yourself matter so much more than the words you say out loud to other people. Like the narrative
Mm.
have to match. And so
Yeah.
give yourself grace.
Yes. Yeah. I often think like play back the words that you are saying in your head as if you're talking to somebody else. And how would that land? Right? Because for the most part, we would never speak to other people the way we speak to ourselves, I think, if you pay attention to it, right? Because we can be our own worst critic sometimes.
Mm.
And there is time for self-reflection, but we need to be encouraging as well and to be grateful and celebrate the small wins, right? Saying in the gain, not the gap, right? If you ever read that book, The Gap and the Gain, um, it's so, so important though. It creates a foundation upon which we can build all the things.
Oh, please.
Okay, so um, you kind of touched a little bit on this, but I'm curious, how do you see your calling, your work evolving in this next season? You said it's going to be fun. What's it going to look like for you?
I just recently, to tie this all together, I had been saying the word effortless almost for nine
Mm.
months or so. And I heard that that means you look for the effort. And I was like,
Oh.
what? I know. I was like, I have one tattoo. That's a story for a different day. But I almost had, I was like gonna tattoo it right here, effortless. I was so excited. And the person who gave me the feedback, they were like, say ease, make it, and ironically, somebody else had said to me also, make it easy. So
Mm.
and that ties, I thought that's what effortless was doing, but it's cool. Now I'm like ease, which ties into this whole simpler, faster, richer. Like I am convinced that it doesn't have to be hard, that it doesn't have to take effort, and that if you iterate and stay in the game, that is where consistency compounds.
Yeah.
That's a book, and it's a sales methodology, and it's just a life hack, which is why people who go to the gym consistently, I mean, you can't out train a bad diet. Trust you me, I've probably tried in my early years. Now I just eat.
Same here.
Like, like, but like simple, fast, and rich. Like it's
Mhm.
okay to make it. So I'm all about simpler delivery in how I teach people to implement so that they too don't get stuck in implementation like I did. And I'm
Yeah.
all about helping people see how to get faster results. My good friend and person I was coached by, Dr. Andrea Vitz, was in one of my Zoom rooms today. She changed my life in 30 minutes.
Uh,
30 minutes. You don't
Okay.
need this like long coaching program. She has a book. She does this concept called emotional sobriety. She has a book, she has a framework, she has a workbook, she has all these things. And I joke with her and I said, like, and then she got me results in 30 minutes. And then I had to go through a couple weeks of her training program anyway. Like, and I understand why, but I'm not the only person that I said to her, you changed my life in one 30-minute phone call. It's like when people say that, pay attention and
Yes.
hire a coach like Hannah to figure out how that might unlock for you because it doesn't have to be complicated. It can be simple and it can be fast.
Yes.
And it's the
And it can be
outcome.
easy.
Easy.
Ah,
Yes.
yes, it can be easy.
And it's the outcome that you care about and that your clients care about, right?
Yeah.
And so when they're getting the outcomes, like she changed, and that's a bold statement. She changed my life
Mm-hmm.
in 30 minutes. Similarly, I saw a hypnotherapist, two of them, I think, in 2023 or 2024, actually, and changed my life because I believe in quantum leaps and I believe in all that. So this season is all about making it fun, making it easy,
Mm.
and helping other people make lots and lots and lots of money and
Yeah.
hanging out in the right rooms where that's not looked down upon.
Yes, that is so important, right? Oh gosh. With the turtle versus the giraffe vision perspective, I guess. Perspective, right? Um, it's super important to get yourself in like-minded rooms for where you're trying to go.
Yeah, tell us about the turtle and giraffe.
Yeah, so turtles and giraffes, they live in basically the same tundra, right? They're kind of in the same space, but one eats grass from down below, and the other one eats leaves from the tops of trees, right? Think about a giraffe and a turtle versus a turtle. And so the turtle can never see from the giraffe's perspective, and vice versa. The giraffe can never see from the turtle's perspective. But the key being here, the giraffe, if it should lower its head down to the level of the turtle, because the turtle says, up there is not the right spot, you should be down here with us, it would actually cause the giraffe to pass out, basically, because their like the length of their neck and their heart, how it beats, whatnot, to get that blood all the way up to their brain, it's a pretty large heart and with a lot of force. And so if they put their head down, that rush of blood will make them pass out and like cause some harm, right?
Mhm.
Similarly, those of us who have been given a perspective of a vision of something bigger, something more, broader than like your routine, regular everyday life, you need to be around other drafts who have perspective from up high, from where you are trying to go, right? Because if you might be one giraffe and a bunch of turtles, all the turtles are telling you that, that what you're seeing up there is not realistic. It is not available because they can't see it. It doesn't make the turtle wrong. It's just the turtle's perspective, right? And I think that that beautiful little analogy kind of plays over, kind of laugh about it, but it kind of plays over to us who, maybe your family of origin or your friend group or your loved ones who have known you as, as a turtle all your life, whatever. They can't necessarily, they can't see sometimes, even like physically, they cannot see your perspective. And that's okay, right? So that's why you need to get yourself in mentorship in rooms where there are people there are other drafts who have perspectives, who are doing what you are dreaming to do and more to help kind of bring you along the way and like, oh yeah, we can all see what you're going for.
I love that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So,
All right. So I know we had to wind down here, but this has been a fun conversation. Um, Real quick, what would you, and you've already kind of given us a few nuggets that I think that people can really hold on to as they're listening to this and re-listen to this if you guys need to, because she dropped a lot of gold here, right? Beautiful frameworks and steps for you guys to use every day. But for the person who's listening, who's feeling like, yeah, they have this draft perspective, but they are surrounded by turtles. I don't know, whatever, but they haven't yet taken that one step, right? Um, what is one brave step you would challenge them to take today?
so good. Give it up for Hannah. I would say go on an imagination walk. It's like because
Mm,
I believe in it so much and we're not doing it, that you're not like the brave step is to believe in yourself. And so go on
mm,
that walk to encourage yourself to believe in
yeah,
yourself. It's our we've touched on this. It's our internal beliefs, those nasty negative stories we tell about ourselves that we act out loud like we don't have. And it's the beliefs of others on us, like the turtles in the example that Hannah shared, that often stop us. One woman about me in passing one time in 2023, Kristin is the girl who always posts selfies on LinkedIn. And that stopped me in my tracks for months
yeah,
from posting. And she didn't even say it to my face. I heard it from somebody else. So
mm,
meaning I don't even know if it was true or not.
yeah, yeah,
These stories that circulate around us. And so we have within us the control to change our life. Like Tony Robbins says, you can change your life in an instant. And, the fastest way to get anything done is to say, is to just go on a walk and think like, who can I partner with? What could I offer? How could I iterate? How can I lean in? And, how can you ask Hannah for mentorship, for example? Like, it's not a thing. It really is a thing. Like, people, like you were saying, at the giraffe level are being mentored by other people at the giraffe level, and we are continuously up leveling each other.
yeah.
And so, yeah, the one thing that we all can do today, one of my clients said, can I take a shower? And I said, yes, you can take you can,
Imagination shower. I love it.
all those ideas that come to us in the shower.
True story. Oh my gosh, yeah.
Right. So don't overcomplicate it, but
Yes.
commit to living in your imagination for like a half hour today and watch how you're.
Yeah. Be intentional about it. Like set that intention as you go to do whatever it is, nap, shower, walk, whatever. But set that intention every day. Yeah.
Yeah. What did you think I was going to say?
I was like, what? No, it's all good. Showers works. Okay. I know we had to wrap up because I know you have another call to get to, but in closing, just a fun question. Favorite drink and favorite food?
Oh, alcohol or not alcohol?
Either or. We're open.
Favorite food. Well, everybody who follows me knows I love Oreos. It's a thing.
I would
Um,
have said you love sourdough, just saying, because that's what I see all the
oh
time.
my gosh. I also love sourdough. Listen, I just love food. I also love
Yeah.
pizza, homemade
Hmm.
pizza with sourdough.
Yum. Yes.
And yeah, recently I've been questioning where alcohol fits into my life yet. I do enjoy a glass of red wine and I love beer. Being in like the mid 40s now, it's like I don't have just one, Hannah. You know what
Yeah.
I love is this sparkling water that I heard is like not actually good for you.
Good sparkling water. I mean,
The
just in general.
girl. And then you know what else I love is the LMNT
Yeah.
electric.
Electrolytes. Yeah. I'm an electrolyte girl. Yeah.
Like, okay, so I just named 10 foods and 10 beverages because your girl can't just pick one.
And that's totally okay. You are not limited here. All right, dream vacation spot on your bucket list or one that you're planning. Is it on a yacht? Kind
Yeah,
of
it's on a
next.
yacht. Yeah,
Okay.
and I went on a 160-foot yacht
Hmm.
in June of 2025 in the Exumas with 11 other people, and it was 7 days of
A dream.
unbelievable. And I got so, do you remember how burnt my like
Yeah,
tan?
you,
I
that was
was like another, and but I have a picture, Hannah, of me. I wish I could pull it up real quick. Covered in towels the last day. Like I wasn't even trying to get tan anymore. But yeah, we'll be rinsing and repeating that vacation every single
nice.
season. Like it's
Nice.
not just once a year. It's got to be like 4 times a year. Like there is
Mm.
magical that happens out there. What's your dream vacation?
The yacht sounds pretty good right now. I don't have just one, so I'm just gonna go with that. I've got a lot of places I want to go. I love to travel. Portugal is up on my list right now as my next place that I am really desiring to go.
You can go there on a yacht.
I, yes, I could. My husband wants us to go on a yacht, so maybe we'll have to do that because I want to go to Portugal. He wants the whole boating thing.
You have enough kids that you guys would just end up
And
filling
I
the.
think that's the thing. I don't want to bring all those kids on the yacht, but
Oh, okay, okay, okay. Well, you
oh,
can bring.
cool, right? But yeah, I think a boat is in our future because he's just like, we're gonna get a boat. I'm like, okay, why? But anyway, it'll be so much fun. Actually, they are really fun. We have gone on imagination. Um, I want to say not even shopping trips, but like imagination sparking because we do this, right? I do this a lot with different things. Like live in your imagination of where you want to go. So we went and have looked at yachts, have like interviewed people, like walked through them, had them tell us all different things about it, and it builds your belief and gets you ready for that next level. I'm a big believer in that.
Like dream boards, vision boards, that stuff exists for a reason, and
Yeah.
something here. There is something here. But all right, thank you so
Right.
much.
Yes, thank you so much for joining us today. It's been great. Where can people find you online?
They can just Google me now. Isn't that cool? Like, I am Googleable.
Woo
Like,
woo.
follow me on Instagram or Facebook or my two most active social medias, but I've got LinkedIn, YouTube, TikTok, all of it. End up on
Awesome.
my email list and don't say I didn't warn you.
All right. Well, real quick, when is your book coming out? Do you have a date yet for that? The third one? Not yet. Okay. All right. Keep your eyes
Um,
peeled, guys.
to hell or high water, January 2026. Like
Okay.
it's
Yeah.
got
Okay. Perfect. But
oh,
yeah, definitely recommend getting well, I guess it wasn't your first one, it's your second one, the Say Yes and Figure It Out. That is, I think, a foundational book for anyone who is looking to create and live an iconic life. So go get it. It's at all the places you can find your books. So run for it. All right, you guys. Again, it's been such a great conversation here today. And thank you for joining us in our conversation. Remember, your most iconic life isn't waiting out there in the somewhere. It's the one you choose and create from the right now every day. So keep choosing with intention, keep choosing with joy and truth, okay? And if today's conversation stirred something inside of you, please share this episode, leave us a review, give us some feedback. We'd love to hear back from you, and help us spread this movement of men and women who are living, leading, and loving iconically. We'll see you back here next time.
bye.